All right, so the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Darry Beckwith. Man, it's definitely a pleasure to have you in here with us. You know, me and you go back from a couple of years. Uh, Met you and we kind of talked about the foundation, you know, that you have going to Darry Beckwith Foundation. And we knew that we had some similar attributes as far as dealing with kids and things like that. So just kind of give the people a little something about who Darry Beckwith is, you know, what are you into and things like that.
Okay, so basically, this is a big deal for me. I never take in this lightly, so I definitely appreciate this opportunity for me to be here. Again, I know it's not so for me promoting myself or promote what I'm doing, but just in general, that hopefully by us doing this, we can inspire other people. If they're holding back on doing something, that they can push through. So basically, my story is very simple. Had some trials and tribulations for me. Played at LSU from 2005 to 2008. Had a pretty, I would say, successful career. Had dreams of going to play NFL a long time. I'm talking 10 to 15 years, make millions and millions and millions of dollars and all that. But obviously, they didn't go the way I thought it should go. You know, went through the whole process as far as going to the combine, failing all physicals at the combine, all 32 teams because of my knee, not getting drafted on draft day. It's probably one of the worst days of my life. I'm talking about, let's think about you got your whole family there, like everybody from the Beckwith side to my mama's side to the Harringtons, everybody at my house expecting me drafted, and that's probably one of the lowest moments of my life. And it just kind of shattered me, destroyed me in a sense because I put all my eggs in one basket. Because when you get to that certain level, especially at college, and people telling you that you're going to play a long time, that stuff it's a seed planted in you, and that's all you know, that's all you think about. And I'll be honest with you, like, class, like what class? Like I was in class, like physically, but mentally I wasn't at all. And so transitioning from that point, far as you know, think you're going to be in at least the first 3 rounds at the most, being a free agent, going to San Diego, fell in the physical when I got up there. They could have cut me then, but they kept me, and it just my first 2 years in San Diego, I was just injury prone. My knee kept swelling up. And it was I just kept getting bounced around, getting told no, getting told you're hurt and all that stuff. And I think I tried one last stint in the CFL. And I went up there, man, it was just terrible. Like, we got there at 9 o'clock at night, fresh off the plane, they made us run 40-yard dashes and all this stuff. People out there pulling hamstrings. And I remember I got back on that bus, and it was a peace that came on me at that particular point in time. I said, I'm done, I'm not doing this no more. And I'm just done. And so for me, I wanted to start something where a lot of times, and y'all know this, especially dealing with athletes in college, sometimes it may be too late as far as to reprogram their mind, let them know that it's different areas that you can be successful in besides, you know, throwing a ball or shooting a jump shot, anything. Like, you can do something else besides that. Like, it's more behind you than your helmet or the jersey you wear. And so what can we do to stop this? So my whole thing was we can start in the high school area with student athletes, because that's where it really starts. The seed is planted early in their lives, just like a baby. You know, Jared, you got kids. You train your kids a certain way, have a certain mannerism about themselves. So when they grow up, they can be how you raise them to be. Right. And high school is that sweet spot, man. From 9th grade, really 9th to 10th grade, man, it's a sweet spot to reprogram their mind. So we started Darry Beckwith Foundation 4 years ago with that in mind, to let kids know, starting high school, specifically student athletes, look, man, it's more to you than your jersey. You can be just as successful than playing ball. Like, sports is not the only way for you to be successful. You can use it as a platform. I'm not telling you to give up on your dream, but at the end of the day, it's more to you than that, because it will end. It's going to end in college, high school, or professional. So that's what we do.
Okay, so, and I agree, man. You definitely said a mouthful. Being that you deal with kids, primarily what age range do you deal with?
So we deal with specific kids from 9th to the 12th grade. So we take in, right now I probably take in 1 to 2 kids each year individually on an individual participant basis, where we do tutoring for them, internships, where they begin to think about a career outside of what they're doing now. Because in high school, you're not thinking about that. Even if they don't want to do it, you know, it's something they can get a feel of. And so we take individual participants, we do that, and also we have programs. So we're doing a lot right now with the East Extension football program as a whole team. So we do things with them as far as resume writing. We've done public speaking. We've done things as far as they learned about the NCAA clearinghouse. And we do sometimes like fun things to make it fun for them. Like, so I think one day we had a workshop where they learned about different ACT questions. They learned about how to conduct themselves on social media, but we made it fun for them because if they're not exposed, if nobody's telling them anything, they're not exposed to it, right, then they're not going to do it. And we just started something with them this semester. So we're challenging them. It's called a fresh start to a fresh semester. So we're challenging the whole football team to at least reach a 3.0 GPA the first semester.
Man, that's good. I wish I can give you 1,000 rounds of applause for that, man. You know, and so what is the biggest challenge or the thing you see more prevalent in the kids, you know, as far as things that they may need to know going forward that they don't know, or their perception on life? Like, what is the biggest challenge that you see in the kids?
The biggest challenge for a kid individually is honestly breaking down bad habits. Because let's say I get a junior or I get a kid that's going to be a senior going to the next year. They've been doing the same pattern really since middle school. So the same pattern, middle school all the way up to this point. Now here we come in and we basically like a sledgehammer tearing everything down that you did before, and that's tough. It's tough for a kid because sometimes we look like the big bad bear in the sense, oh, no, I've been doing it this way. Well, the way you've been doing it ain't been working. So we got to do something different. So that's the biggest challenge, to get them to realize sometimes it may take the full first semester. I'm not going to lie. So let's take that sledgehammer, man, and just break their bad habits down. Once you break it, we're good.
All right. So would you say your experience, I guess, in the combines and dealing with the NFL and the way it turned out for you, is that what pretty much motivated you to be this passionate about catching them at an early age and directing them, I guess, more so?
Oh, without a doubt. I had a kid at LSU, Javante Smart, matter of fact. We did something, I talked last year to all the freshman athletes at LSU, and he asked me a question. He said, let me ask you something. He said, if you wouldn't have went what you went through, and the story's so long, we'll be all day, but if you wouldn't have went what you went through, would you be here talking to us today? I told him absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. And the reason, the experiences I did have, the experiences personally, the experience I've seen from other people, is the reason why I wanted to start this and why I wanted to let these kids know. Because they got to realize, like, student athletes, even in high school, you have a platform. And, like, people look up to you. Like, they want to be you, they admire you, because it's hard to what you do, go to school and practice and all that stuff. Like, it takes a total commitment, it takes sacrifice. That's a special gift that you have. So definitely what I went through and the things that I endured, I wanted to put that back into especially young male athletes, that look, there's more to you than what you think that you can do right now. Because you go to school, how many guys are going to professionally? 90% raise their hand. How many guys are going to play ball on the next level? On college, going to college next level? 100% almost raise their hand. And it's like, wow, don't give up on your dream. But I tell them, this is the analogy I use. If I was to strip away, like, if you just wake up one morning, you can't run, you're not fast anymore, you're not strong, you're not athletic, or nothing, like, can you still function? Like, you need to have that same confidence even if you didn't have that stuff, you know, because I know how it is. You know, you walk around campus, you got your LSU shirt on, you feel, you know, a little swag about yourself. Yeah. But if that stuff gone, you know what I'm saying? If it's gone, like, you still should have that same swag, like, have that same confidence. Like, you should know who you are, like, walk with your head up high. So it's different things of that nature that they need to learn, too, in high school as well.
Right. No doubt, no doubt. I definitely agree with everything that you just said. But for the people who are out there watching, and I know you touched on this in the beginning, but I guess give a breakdown of who you were as a ball player, why you had the promise, so to speak, the hype that was around you for you to say, hey, I was potentially a first to at least the latest a third round pick had not I been injured. So just kind of give the people some of your accolades or, you know, some of the things that got you to that level.
Well, it started in high school, Jared, and I honestly, like in high school, I always had a dream of playing on the next level. For me, like even coming up, like all my family went to Southern University, so they ain't go to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So all over the Southern, and so growing up, I was in the front yard. That's all I want to do. Like I'm gonna play on the college level, and so when I went to Parkview Baptist High School after my junior year. That's when I kind of found out, like, well, I can actually do this because LSU offered me after my junior year. I was like, man, I can actually do this. So, going to my senior year, we had all the awards, like our, MVPs, defense MVP of the state, and all that stuff. And going to LSU and having success early, starting for 3 years, starting as a sophomore and starting as a junior, starting as a senior. But the thing that really kind of got me, I guess, thinking, well, look, I'm gonna go to the next level and be successful is when you have people on the outside pulling at you like nonstop, like just nonstop. I mean, you have people, this person. I mean, even agents and stuff calling me at an early age, especially as a junior, saying what you can do and what you can be. And for me, it was one quick story when I went to, it was in Barnes and Nobles. Yeah, so you see athletes, we do go to Barnes and Nobles, like we are educated, so don't, even though all other stuff, but it was a magazine, and it was like one of those draft preview magazines going into 2008, I believe, and I was scrolling through and I looked, and this time it was like the top 20 prospects, and my name was in that top 20 prospects, and so at that point, like my mind triggered, like I gotta go harder, like I gotta go harder, and so I remember that summer, man, just going to the weight room like twice a day, like doing all kind of stuff. And so one day, like Moffitt, the strength coach, told me, look, you need to chill. But things like that, like if you're not grounded, and when you see stuff like that, and like you can be this and do that, that's what kind of really got me focused on, like this thing is real. Like I'm gonna do this, and I really wasn't thinking about anything else. I ain't thinking about no backup plan. When they said like put all eggs in one basket, I literally did that.
And so you were recruited by, was it Nick Saban or Les Miles?
I was recruited by Nick Saban, which I know that name is kind of not found around here, but I know somebody else in this room, a big Nick Saban fan. I ain't gonna say no names though, but
Don't say no names.
Other than that, man, Nick Saban recruited me. And he left to go to the Dolphins like about a month before signing day, and then I played under Coach Miles.
Well, what was some of that conversation that he had while recruiting you? Why was he interested in Darry Beckwith?
Nick Saban is one of those guys, and that's probably why y'all big fans. Look, I'm a fan of Alabama program. Now, people LSU watching this, I'm not an Alabama fan. I'm a fan of how the program runs, so it's a difference. He is so like straightforward, like to the point where it's like, dang, like you hear all this other stuff from coaches. Like one coach told me, "Oh, we'll build a defense around you and all that stuff." And you hear all that stuff, and then you get to him, it's like, look, I don't guarantee you anything. I don't guarantee you're gonna play, but I will promise you, you will have opportunity to play, and you'll get your degree, and that's it. And so when somebody is like, you can tell like somebody's being just blowing smoke and being real, and he was just real to the point, and that what drew me to him. And I remember when he did offer me, because you got to offer him in front of your parents, and so he offered me first, like just by myself. So we got to do it in front of your parents. So we go up there, and he had like this little door where it's a button on his desk that he pressed, and like it's the scariest thing ever. And like he ain't no taller than. That light switch. And so he getting that, he crosses his legs like this. And it's the most intimidating thing ever. And I remember he did the whole spiel, recruiting spiel, whatever. He's like, so we're going to offer you a scholarship. I know we did it before, but we had to do it in front of your parents. I said, cool. I said, I'm going to think about it. He said, okay, cool. So my mom, I could feel something like looking at me like these eyes side of my head. Like she was sitting probably 2 chairs down from me. When I said I'll think about it, like I felt something beaming in my head, like it didn't feel good. And so I looked, and she had this stare, like, what are you talking about? She's like, think about it. This little, she said, think about it. She looked at me, think about it. Coach Saban, she said, he's not thinking about it, he's coming here. So I don't know if I committed or if my mom committed. I think my mom committed, and so that was a wrap.
Hey man, my mom's is a wise lady, man, wise lady.
All right, so since you were talking about Coach Saban and your recruiting process, so I guess can you tell the people how it was coming in as, you know, how they say this wide-eyed freshman to the point of going to LSU and you all, your team having so much success. And I know you all went to you all won the SEC championship while you were there. Then
yeah, we won. We won the same year. We won national championship. We won the SEC championship, which was 2007.
All right.
Yeah, so we won it. Yep.
All right. So how is that coming in this program and you just like say sitting in front of Coach Saban is already intimidating enough, right? So how is that coming into a program like that and adjusting?
I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. Like I was literally scared because in high school, it's one of those things. It's different. Like high school is when like if you bigger and faster than everybody else, you gonna do well. Like you will dominate the game. Right. So going to LSU, it's like it's everybody from across the country. Like the best players at that school coming in one spot, and I was terrified. Because I remember one night, I was still in high school, and I saw one of the linebackers that was currently there out. There's a Buffalo Wild Wings. And I knew of him, and that's why I was getting ready to go. I had just signed. And I looked and I said, man, ain't no way I can play here. Because he just looked so much mature and so much bigger. You know what I mean? He looked like he had like 15 bricks in his shirt. Like, I said, man, ain't no way I can play here. Like, and I was so scared. Like, I was so nervous. And like, I just felt like, man, I'm going to be an embarrassment. Like, you know, I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff went through my head. But it's one of those things where if you want to compete, and that's with anything, right? You compete in life, you compete in the field. And so when I got there and worked out in the summer and all that stuff, and I think the first practice, I just kind of, my biggest thing, I'm just going to play hard and run to the ball, all that stuff, let everything else take care of itself. So, and it did, but at first I was nervous. It wasn't those type of things where I had this, I was confident, but at the same time, I still had the little, like, man, I don't know if I can do this, but it all worked out.
Well, it sounds like you had a healthy fear.
Yeah, I did.
I know this may be, you know, kind of a hard thing for you to speak on as far as the injury itself. You know, so we heard previously about the red flags and the teams who wouldn't medically, I guess, clear you from your physicals. Could you touch on the injury a little bit, like what it was, how did it happen, you know, and the emotions that you went through after everything took place?
So I had something after really happened my junior year, the Alabama game, with my meniscus. At that time, I had dislocated my meniscus where it flipped inside out. And so it wasn't that big of a deal. They just basically stapled it back to the bone and whatever. I finished and and guess it was against Alabama, which I think they purposely did that. I don't know. I remember I got cut blocked. And, you know, somebody, I don't know. They different over there. Anyway, but I end up finishing the season. So it was cool. But going my senior year, I tore it again against North Texas, and I completely tore my meniscus. And so at that point, it was more like, well, you know, you don't really need your meniscus to play. I said, well, cool. So they just took it out. I could have repaired it. If I would have repaired it, I would have missed my whole senior year because it's a length time. So I don't want to do that. So they completely took it out. Well, me not knowing if you completely take your meniscus out, it can affect you moving forward as far as the physicals and things of that nature. So when you go to the combine, they see bone on bone and it scares them. Like I had no meniscus, so like arthritis and this degenerative knee and all that stuff. So that's what basically scared them away. Man, if I would have known that would have happened, I would have got my meniscus repaired, missed my senior year, still would have took a chance of maybe not getting drafted because I would have missed my senior year, but at least I would have went into it healthy. But I think everything happened for a reason, though. I believe that. All
right, so with today's game, so how long have you had your foundation? How long have you been working with these?
So I started 4 years ago. Since 2015 is when I got it established. And so, like over that span of time, far as I would say this, far as like dealing with the kids, like most of these kids, when I first started, so the first participant I had was PJ Cannon, and he told me something. He went to Zachary. He told me something that stuck with me, and it still sticks with me today as far as how to function with these kids. He said, kids our age, it's two things we want. We want to either he said we want to be a part of something. Either it's going to be good or these are going to be bad. But we want to be a part of something. We want to feel like we're a part of something. There's no in between. So it's either good or it's either bad. One thing I've learned though, if they trust you, because first off, like they scan you in 30 seconds. Right. Like they're gonna know if you real or fake within 30 seconds. So if they trust you and they know that you care, they know that you genuinely love them, they know that you genuinely are there for them, you don't want nothing in return, they will go hard behind you. Like they would do stuff that they thought that they couldn't do. Like I've dealt with a kid, maybe he wasn't quite, up to par, up to standards on how everybody viewed him. But once he found out, like, we love you, man, we care about you, I mean, they go, I'm talking about staying up 11 o'clock at night studying stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, who is this person? But when they find, like, they'll go hard behind you. But it's like you said, it's the fact that they have to find somebody who's willing to push them. Because either way, if they don't do this, they're gonna go the other route.
All right. So with me being a teacher, I can definitely understand what you're saying. So is there an example you can think of where you said to yourself, like, you know what, this kid gets it? Like, was there a moment when that happened for you?
Oh, without a doubt. And this can be more of a after the fact moment. Yeah, let's see if this makes sense. So one particular kid we had last year, it was one of those things, it was a struggle for 2 years to get him to understand exactly what exactly you need to do. And for me, like, I'm crazy enough to think, like, every kid I get, like, all of them gonna do something. Like, I'm crazy enough to think that. And I still think that. I don't care what nobody say. I remember my dad told me, like, it's like, son, you're not gonna save them all. I like, Dad, shut up. I ain't telling my dad to shut up. But in my mind, I'm like, you know what, yes I am. Like, you Superman over here, we can do this. And so it was just a struggle with this struggle, man. And like one day I can take it, like I told him, one day I called the kids, look, man, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Like, he kind of felt some type of way, kind of drew back. But at the end of it, I think I saw him, he was going to graduate, and his demeanor in his conversation, because I know how his body language was. He walked with his head down, when he shook your hand, he didn't look at you in your eye, anything like that. He barely really could hold a full conversation. So he's going to graduate, and I remember I saw him again, and just the way he was, as far as the way he carried himself, the way he walked, the way he talked. And I know he matured, and when he asked me, he's like, man, he said, how your parents are doing? How your parents and your sister doing? And like, for me, you gotta know him. Like I can't get into detail. Like, for him to say that, to ask me how somebody else is doing, like, I'm having a grown adult conversation with this person. And when I first met him, I said, how do you see your future? When I first met him, he said, I don't. And so now he went from like not thinking anything about college and not going anywhere, so now he's going to JUCO in Dallas. And I talked to him last week, I was with him. He said his main focus is to get his grades, to graduate from there and then go to a 4-year accredited college, which in the past, like, he never would have thought that. So moments like that, I was, okay, just because you don't see, the instant success at that moment doesn't mean down the line that it's not going to come into fruition.
Man, that's powerful, man. And I agree with what you're saying. And I do know that to be true. And I do know that, as you were saying earlier, about kids reading you within the first 30 seconds. And, Sad can attest to that as well. As he said, he's a teacher, but I've taught in my own rights as well. I've taught at risk 17 through 25-year-old kids, GED, and so on and so forth. And one thing I can say is that kids or young adults, whatever you want to call them, they respond to respect first before you can discipline them. And I'll say the same thing. I've had kids who were ready to run through a wall for me that other people just could not, even get them to pick up the pencil to take a test, but it's about you and how you present yourself and the things that you can offer to them that's genuine, and once they see that you really really in their corner, then you can pretty much approach them, in the manner that you need to approach them to get your point across. So I think it's a healthy respect that once, they begin to respect you for the person that you are. So I think that's to be commended on your behalf, that you get so much out of these kids who most people probably couldn't get, a lot out of. So that said, I did a little investigative work.
Uh-oh. Man.
So I was browsing the page of the Darry Beckwith Foundation, and you said something that I thought was really, really interesting in a segment that you call Fresh Tip Friday.
Okay. All right.
So maybe you know where I'm going with this.
All right.
And the statement says, what you said was, let cowards be cowards. He said, cowards want what you have. They want what you have without putting in the work, the sacrifice, the time, or the energy to get to where you're trying to get to. Explain.
I remember that. Okay, so that what made me do that is because the instance that happened with the kid, LSU, the basketball player. Obviously we all know what happened with that. And so when I thought about, I said, man, this is getting out of hand because, and we actually did a segment at EA about this. We reenacted a scene where somebody comes in and says something to you. How do you react or how do you respond to that situation? Because it's true, like cowards are going to be cowards. So if you ever in a situation like again, even if you're in high school, it don't matter, or in college, like they have somebody out there that wants what you want, that wants what you have, but they're not willing to put the work in. They're not gonna put the sacrifice in. They want the easy way out. They're gonna take the easy way out. And so if you see somebody come up to you, I told the kids at this EA, I said, if you with your boys, y'all chilling, where it may be, whether restaurant, I don't care where y'all at, and they had one guy, if he has the guts enough to come up to full oversized, overgrown kids, okay, and mess with you, it's something that he has basically packing that he feels more comfortable with doing that. And it's on his mind, like they never, like these situations like this, like a guy who's gonna start trouble, they want an excuse for them to do something. They want an excuse to shoot you or to stab you because they want to get a reaction out of you. Oh, well, I said something to him, so he reacted to me, so that gives me a right to. No, they don't give you no right. No, you're just a coward. And so that's my biggest thing, to stress to them, like, I don't care how big you are, how many awards you got, you're not bigger than a bullet.
Right.
You're not. And it's not worth it. Like, I remember a situation, I was in college, like, one of my friends, and it's real, like, you're in college, so stuff happened. One of my partners got jumped one time, and he's like, no, we gotta go back in there and find him. We was like, no, we not. Like, we leaving. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you shouldn't have, what you did? You should have said something to him. And so it's one of those things that you gotta realize, like your destiny is precious. Right. It's precious, man. And the devil does not want to see you reach your destiny, so he'll do any little thing to get you off your path. And so it is funny because when we react those things, the sort of thing was, the scenario was an EA. It was the guy had a girlfriend, whatever, and so we had a guy. I was the coward, whatever, and so he was sitting there. So I walked by him. I said, your girlfriend named such and such? He's like, yeah, and I started laughing, and so I started laughing like, oh, that's your girlfriend, like, oh, that's your girl, like that. And so I could see, like, he started getting mad and like rolling his fist. So I had to stop the whole thing. I said, hey man, I said this is a reaction. That's not real life. But that's how quick. And my thing is, like, never be nowhere by yourself. And so the people that surround you, they should be smart enough to say, get up and just walk away. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. When that comes up, don't say nothing. Just get up and leave, because trying to be big and bad will get you in a bad situation.
Right. Definitely. And to kind of piggyback on that, another thing that you said that I thought was very profound, and this could be for athletic, I guess, athletes, who have maybe athletic scholarships, or, it could be for, academic scholarships, those students, or, whoever. This could be for any person. And I thought this was very profound. You said, don't let a 140 character tweet cost you to lose a $140,000 scholarship. I think a lot of people need to hear this. I think some adults haven't learned that lesson yet. Because it may not be a $140,000 scholarship. It may be a $70,000 job. It may be a $100,000 job. It may be a $100,000 opportunity. And I think it's self-explanatory, but still, what's the thought process behind a statement like that?
That I actually so when we was doing we had another program at EA where we went back and that's what I touched on, social media, right? How like social media is your brand. And so I ran up on that quote from a guy who said that. And like it was so true, like dang, like it was so true. So like they don't realize like being right now, even in high school, right, or even like as an adult, like that stuff, like once you hit the send button, or once you post a picture, like it's there. Even if you try to delete it, it's still there. And so even in high school, at a young age, we talk about like just changing that program, changing that mindset. Like they think Instagram and Twitter and stuff is just for show. Like how many likes I can get, like how hard I can shine, like how many girls I can DM and all that. Like that's how they think. But nah, we're gonna tear all that down. We're gonna tear all that down and let you know what it's really about. So use it to your benefit. Like it's a brand, like you branding yourself. So if you're trying to go to college, whether it's to play ball or get into an institution, those people, like that's your job interview. Like that's your biggest job interview. Like stop posting crazy stuff on there where people can see. And then you're not getting away with it if you liking somebody else's picture that ain't right. Like I told them, like don't like a picture with somebody smoking or drinking because people can still track that. That's your biggest job interview. And if I'm a CEO of a company, I'm not gonna want that. And so it's little simple things we tell them about. Just clean up your page. Don't have a crazy username like Big Slick 45 and all that stuff. Like put your first and last name, whatever it may be. Jared Alex. Put your full name in there, and it'll do wonders. And so I remember one kid, he told me, like, man, you hit me hard. Like, he's like, I gotta go clean up my page right now and all that stuff. And it's true. And we just do little things like that, man, can make a big difference in a person, like even in adult life. Like I said, you see adults posting and you wonder why you didn't get that promotion. Well, they may not tell you, but they could have looked on you like, nah, they not mature enough for this job promotion. How you talk to people, how you, even if you're out in public, like we learned something that's about a default face, right? A guy, Dr. Karen, who's a professor at LSU, he helped a lot about having a default face. So like if you're in a restaurant somewhere and are you approachable? Like do you have like this little smile on your face, or you just look like this a person that nobody wants to touch with a 10-foot pole? Right. And so there's little things like that as far as being your own corporation, being your own CEO, that goes a long way. And like you hit on, as far as do everything you do it in a professional manner. And are you going to be perfect? No. Are you going to do everything right? No. But I do believe you have the mindset to strive for that. Every day consciously think, okay, this how I'm going to treat people, because you don't want to be treated like no any kind of way. So how would you treat the other person? And that holds true. And I remember in college, I used to get so mad in college when some of the players act like they couldn't sign autographs for these kids. I'm like, well, who are you? Like, no, you stay here and sign. Like, and so I always, after games, like I would stay there all day to sign autographs, because at some point in life, ain't nobody gonna know who Darry Beckwith is. At some point. And I'm not bragging or boasting, but like 10 years, I feel like 10 years later, I feel like God was positioning me then, because to do that, I think 10 years later, it's easier for me to do what I'm doing now because of what I did at LSU. Not so much, I don't even think, not so much me playing, but like just how I treated people. And I think those seeds I planted, I'm reaping the harvest now. Staying after games, after we didn't play Florida and Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin, but I'm still there signing autographs for kids who I may never see again. Right. But I think those things like that, it's not just for you to feel good about yourself. I feel big and bold. It's not about that. It's about little things, like you say, those little small things. Being a corporation and being a CEO yourself can go a long way. You may not see it now, but like I said, you may see it 10 years later, like I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, well, I know you're a man of your word when you say these things. I know you're not just speaking them, because I hadn't talked to you in a while. And I shot the text. I said, hey, man, look, this is what I got going on. I need that interview, and I got a response, promptly. And I could tell that it was genuine, even through the text message, like, man, look, anything you got going on, I'm going to help you out with it. Let me know. And I appreciate that from man to man because, like I said, in business, you tend to run across a lot of people. Some people you think you know, some people think are going to look out for you in certain situations, and they really don't. But I'm telling you, man, that response that I got from you just let me know, man, this dude is genuine through and through and through, and I definitely appreciate that. The transition period. Explain the transition period from, being an athlete pretty much your whole life to, now having to become a working professional. Some of the ups and downs and challenges, especially coming off of the injury, especially coming off of, the point to where you said, you know what, I'm done with this. A couple of knee surgeries later, okay, now Darry Beckwith has taken off all of the armor, and now I have to step into a whole nother world, that's full of sharks and experienced people, who basically have the same mindset as those who are on the field, but just in a business sense. How do you deal with that transition?
That transition, Jared, I don't want to sugarcoat nothing and say everything is utopia. It's unknown, and it's one of, when you do transition, it is tough. It's hard, like it's extremely hard because like you have to. You thinking about you've been playing ball since high school. And so that's almost like 10 years, 12 years that you gotta get rid of. And so it is a hard transition, but at that same time you have to, for yourself, like you're gonna have to dig deep inside for yourself and realize, okay, those same traits that I learned in football, learned in basketball, baseball, track, whatever it may be, because this is not a one sport thing. Those same traits, how can I take that into this next phase in life? And so I'm a strong believer, like whatever position you played, like that position has a certain personality. So that personality that you have, that position, you take that personality into basically the life after sports, like in your next career. So I played linebacker. So linebackers were you had a little bit different in a sense where we had to know exactly what was going on. We had to make the calls, make the plays. So we had to be their leader. Same time being their leader, we were very, very ferocious, instinctive, and when we wanted to go get something, we had to go get it. So I took that. I just, okay, let me take that, then let me apply that, and apply this into what I want to do. And I think if you take that because you know what you know. So if you know sports, that's what you know. But whatever you know, you take that and then it's applied to what you're doing. Like if you play DB, like DBs had a short memory span. Like they was confident. DBs got a lot of swagger with them. Yeah. They got to. So now take that confidence, take that same swagger, and whatever field that you're interested in, taking it into that field. And so that's basically what I did, and it made it a little bit easier for me.
So is there anything you want to let the people know about that we might not have discussed before we wrap up?
Like I said, for the most part, what we're doing right now is specifically targeted in with East Ascension football program and letting them know about basically having an identity outside of sports. Obviously, I know I touched on it earlier about them having a challenge of getting a 3.0 or above this semester. So if they do that, obviously we're going to reward those who do have 3.0 above this semester as well. And we're going to have different, fundraising events that's going to be coming up as well. And just go to the website and check it out. It's www.wwebecfoundation.org. Again, www. Did I say too many W's?
No, that's right.
Yeah, just go to wwebecfoundation.org. And all of them, it's wwebecfoundation.org. Just go check it out, get involved, because I do believe, especially being a student athlete, I'm not putting down anybody else, but being a student athlete, they have an impact that can stretch as far and as wide as anybody I've ever seen. Just been an athlete in general. You look at like LeBron James, and that's one of my favorite athletes of all time just because of what he's doing off the court. and that's because of who he is. Like, so just go get involved. I think this is our future. It depends on it. We're dependent on them. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity too as well. Y'all doing a great job. So y'all need to stick with it and keep pushing.
No doubt, man. Darry Beckwith, we appreciate you for coming through and sharing this information with us. And definitely, if there's anything that we can do to help the foundation, you know, in any form or fashion, you know, I'm always one phone call away. Just give me a holler, you know, and we'll set something up. We'll make some things happen.
Sounds good. Roll. No, I'm playing. Roll with nothing. Roll out here.